You're watching this video because you're interested in anamorphic lenses, and there's actually a lot of misconceptions out there on how to get that anamorphic look. And there's three main ways to do it that I've discovered. And over the years at Epic Light Media, we've bought quite a few things to achieve that anamorphic look. And when we say the anamorphic look, what we mean by that is oval bokeh. It's not round like spherical lenses, it's oval. Also, typically with anamorphic lenses, you're getting that wide aspect ratio. This is the 2.39 to 1 aspect ratio that we're used to seeing in the cinema. Classic movies like Indiana Jones, Star Wars were shot in this format. A lot of people want that look because it reminds them of movies they've seen and it legitimizes their work. As cinematographers, as filmmakers, we want our images to look unique. To achieve that unique look, we use anamorphic lenses, we use anamorphic lenses, as people are calling them, and anamorphic lens adapters. First, I want to talk about anamorphic lens adapters. Now, there's a lot of different kinds out there, and we've actually made a video about this one before. This is the AnamorphX-PRO lens adapter from Letus. Now, with this anamorphic lens adapter, you put it in front of your normal spherical lens. And when I say spherical lens, I mean photography lenses. Most cinema lenses are spherical. And what it does is it stretches the image 1.33 times. So if you have a 16:9 sensor, it will stretch the image and you will get that 2.39 to 1 aspect ratio that you want. It will produce kind of an oval bokeh, but not that much. What's so incredible about this anamorphic lens adapter and why I love it so much is it's physically stretching your image. So for example, if you have a 50mm lens, it's gonna look more like a 35mm lens or a 40, somewhere around there. As you can see in this video that we made previously, you can actually see more. It makes your lenses wider. The problem with using adapters like this is you have to focus the adapter and the lens to the proper distance in order to focus the image. And so trying to focus two things independently of each other is a very slow process. So if you're shooting quickly, this is pretty much impossible to use. If you're shooting very slowly and you have time to focus every shot, that's great. Now, if you're moving the camera or if your actor's moving, it becomes nearly impossible to maintain focus with this adapter. But for some shoots, this is pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of anamorphic lens adapters, but if you are going to buy one, this is the one I recommend because you can actually use like an 18mm lens. Normally with anamorphic lens adapters, you cannot use a wide lens. You can use pretty much any millimeter lens you want with this thing. So it's very versatile and it's very well made. And for what it is, I recommend it. Now, another way to achieve that anamorphic look is to use anamorphic lenses. These are normal spherical lenses that are Russian lenses that have been adapted to look like anamorphic lenses by iron glass. And what they've done is in the back of the lens, they have mounted an oval cutout, basically a black oval cutout, and it gives you an oval bokeh instead of a round bokeh. And I actually like using these. They're better than an anamorphic lens adapter, especially if it's a 1.33x, because this actually gives you more of that oval characteristic. We've made a video about these as well in the past. And as you can see from the footage, it's not like a spherical lens. What Iron Glass has done is they've mounted onto these Russian lenses, these nice cinema gears. So you can use your follow focus, and these are very cinema friendly. These were originally photography lenses that have been adapted to give you that anamorphic look. You can actually buy them yourself and try to do it yourself. I actually think Iron Glass is doing a great service to the film community here, offering some cheap anamorphic lenses to the film community. And if you know what you're doing, you can actually make these look really good. I think someone could shoot a low budget movie on these 5 lenses and be able to get all the looks they want, all the way from 20mm to 135mm. Lastly, to get that cinematic anamorphic look, you can actually use real anamorphic lenses. The downside is anamorphic lenses are expensive. And the cheapest ones you can buy are like 8 to 10 grand a piece. Atlas Anamorphic. Atlas Lens Co. Anamorphic. This is the 100mm lens from Atlas, and it's heavy, it's big. What's great is it's giving you a 2x, a true 2x anamorphic squeeze. So if you're using a 16:9 sensor, it looks like this. It actually looks ridiculous. So at that point you zoom in. You'd think that a 100mm anamorphic lens like this, if there's a 2x squeeze, would look more like a 50mm. So we did some tests, and we discovered that on a 16:9 sensor, because you do have to crop in to get that 2.39 aspect ratio, you're getting more of like a 65mm feel. So it's not quite 2x because you do have to zoom in to compensate for that sensor size. Now, originally with film cameras, film is inherently 4:3, and 2x squeeze to that is a 2.39 aspect ratio. The best sensors to use these anamorphic lenses on are actually full frame sensors. A lot of RED cameras are used with these, and they make them look amazing. Now, these lenses do open up to a T2, which is quite wide. Unfortunately, the image looks pretty bad at a 2. Pretty much everyone who's used these and owned these, they say that the image doesn't start looking good until you get to about an f4. You can be between a 2.8 and a 4. That's kind of a safer range. But the closer to 4 you get, the cleaner the image is. So unfortunately with these lenses, you are getting that beautiful bokeh, you are getting real anamorphic lens flares, but the bokeh isn't quite as pronounced as some of our spherical lenses that we own that open up to a T2, because you can't even open up that wide with these. Of all of these options that we've used over the years, I'll say this sits on our shelf collecting dust. We hardly ever use the anamorphic lens adapter because how difficult it is to use. I would use this in a scenario where I want a millimeter and I'm filming something with real anamorphic lenses and I want a super wide lens or a millimeter we don't have. I could put this on a very wide lens and get that anamorphic feel, and it would probably cut very well with these in the edit. We use these sometimes. The reason why I love these fake anamorphic lenses is because they're so lightweight. Another reason why I would use these is because these would cut well with the real anamorphic lenses. If you're just starting out with anamorphics and you want to get that look, I actually recommend something like this. Actually, I would recommend taking whatever lens you have right now and making a little oval paper cutout and sticking it on the back of the lens. And here's a video that shows you how to do that. That's how I started, and that's how I started like appreciating that look and liking it. What I've learned is, as creatives, as filmmakers, when we're making videos, the more videos you make that look a certain way, the more you're gonna get hired to make more videos like that. So if you want to be the filmmaker that's making these cinematic images that are anamorphic, start shooting anamorphic videos. People will come to you and say, I want that look. Your clients, the people that are hiring you to make videos, they don't really know this language. Most people don't even know what anamorphic lenses are, but they know when they see your images, they'll know that they look professional, that they look cinematic, and they're gonna want something like that for their movie, their short film, or a commercial. If you want to learn more about anamorphic lenses, I highly recommend this channel. It's fantastic. If you want anamorphic lenses on a budget, this is everything you need to know. If you liked this video, please don't subscribe to Epic Light Media, and we'll see you next time.